Hi, everyone. Welcome. We'll get started in just a minute to let everyone join. As you enter, we're going to have a poll to please answer question before we get started. And the question is, have you heard of PVA's PAVE program before today? All right, so let's get started. So first, good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's session of the Women Veterans Empowerment webinar series. First, I do want to say that we have closed captioning available. To turn on this feature, press the closed caption button in the meeting controls section. So it should be at the top of your screen right now. So if you click that button, then you'll see the closed captioning appear. So today's webinar is titled Engage in Something New. Our speaker is Tiffany Miller, a vocational rehab counselor with PVA's PAVE program. We'll be discussing how to stay engaged and to keep that momentum going after we return to normal. As we enter right now, everyone is on mute. So if you have any questions, please feel free to use the Q&A box in the meeting controls. At the end, we will open it up to questions. So please raise your hand and then we will unmute you so that you can ask your question out loud. And if you have any technical difficulties, please use the chat box to send the host a message. It looks like mostly everyone has answered the poll question. Most everyone has heard of the PAVE program before, so that's great. You'll get to learn a little bit more about it today as well. So with that, I will turn it over to Tiffany. Thank you.
Great. All right, so as you know, I'm Tiffany. I'm a counselor with PAVE. And so what we are talking about is engaging in something new and how to kind of stay productive while everything has changed. With everything that's going on right now and all the changes and restrictions in place, I'm sure there's a lot of us that are feeling a bit isolated, we're feeling stuck at home and just unsure of what to do with your time. And so that's what we're going to talk a bit about. I tried to group things into categories that make sense. There's a lot of things that overlap, but trying to meet a lot of different needs that we might have while we're kind of stuck at home. Right, so the first thing we have is staying social. Like I said, some of us might be feeling stuck at home, a bit isolated, especially if you live alone, if you live with children and there's not a lot of other adult interaction, that might be something that you're missing. And so I just wanted to go over some ways to stay social. I have here some different websites, Meetup, Eventbrite, and Facebook groups. And those are different resources that they existed before, and there were ways for people to meet up in person, but a lot of those groups that already existed are continuing to meet virtually, or that new groups are popping up to create this need that people are having to connect with people. So I know that Eventbrite kind of depends on the event. Some of them are free, some have a small cost. Facebook groups, you just have to be on Facebook, and Meetup, unless you are in charge of the group, I'm pretty sure it's free. And I also included on there your library. So people who don't use their library often might not realize that libraries are more than just books. They actually, a lot of them, I know mine personally has in-person meetups where you could do wine tasting, there's a knitting club, there's a chess group, there's a book club. And some of those groups might be continuing to meet virtually, so it's something to look into and see if you want to join in on that. I also have social media on here. That's one way, obviously, to connect with people, but there's a lot of new features on the different platforms that are popping up, and now could be a good time to learn some of those features that you've been avoiding. So there's Facebook Live. I think Facebook has stories now, which is something that Instagram has, learning how to use the Instagram stories. I think they have Instagram TV, which is kind of like YouTube. Like, a lot of them are picking up features that the other ones have. So now is a good time to practice that and get into it. I know TikTok has grown a lot. A lot of people have been joining that platform. I've still stayed away from it, but I know a lot of my family members are on it, and it's funny to see the videos that they're making at home. And then lastly, we have local restaurants and bars. So if you're one of those people that would go out to trivia night or karaoke night, a lot of those places are still trying to have those events virtually. I don't know if karaoke is one that's been working out, but I know that trivia nights are still kind of going on consistently, just from home. And then another thing that's really important is staying active. Some people might have the resources to be able to just get out and take a walk around the block, and some of us are in more populated areas where that's not possible. But there are ways to do it within your home or within your own space if you have a yard. So PVA Sports has actually been hosting some events. When I went on their Facebook, they had some adaptive yoga classes and different things that are free and available. So I just included that link for you. There's a lot of different articles as well about other people and how they have managed to stay active at home. And so it's just a way to find some inspiration to do that for yourself as well. You could look into taking a dance class. So if there's a local dance studio, a lot of them have been trying to provide their classes online. So you could look into that, but there's also free options on YouTube. Eventbrite, again, had a lot of opportunities there. So that's something you always wanted to learn, just a little bit of time out of your day, and it's a way to stay active. And going along with that, there are online fitness classes as well. Again, if you're already have a membership with a gym, or there is a local gym, they're trying to keep classes going since their members can't be on site at their fitness studio. So that's something you can look into. But again, there are free options on YouTube. If you just Google whatever you're interested in, I'm sure there's somebody who's made a video for it, and you could do that probably from home. I've seen a lot of weightlifting classes using like canned goods, bottles of water, so that you're still getting that weight, but you're able to do it at home without having to buy all of the equipment. And then lastly, gardening. If that's something that you're already into, you have the space for it, that's just a great way to stay physically active and just kind of be outside a little bit, get that vitamin D and stay positive. So another thing is travel. Obviously, that's pretty restricted right now, but if that was something that was really important to you, there are ways to continue to travel and see different things from just, from your home. Travelandleisure.com has been offering virtual trips, and so I included one that I found actually on their website. It was supposed to be a nice relaxing view of St. Lucia, and you could get the idea of an island vacation. Obviously, it's not the same, but it's something that you can do from home, something that just a change of scenery, and even an idea you can go through virtually and plan for a trip in the future when you're able to go out and do that. Other options are virtual museum tours. Listed just some of the popular ones below, but if you Google a museum tour virtual, a lot of them will come up. They have them all over the world, and people are trying to offer them, again, because people can't be there on site to see those things. And then, of course, if you have access to any local parks and hiking trails, that's one way to just get out in your community. Again, get outside, get moving, and doing something different. But just be aware that on a really nice day, other people might have that same idea in mind, and so you just want to be careful, wear a mask, keep your distance, and just be safe while you're out there doing that.
All right, and now I will launch our second poll question and give everyone a minute to answer. The question is, are you interested in exploring the following opportunities? Please select all that apply. The options are paid employment, educational/training opportunities, and volunteer opportunities. And and then I'll give everyone just a couple more seconds to answer. All right, and it looks like mostly everyone, or a lot of you are looking for volunteer opportunities, so that's great. I'll turn it back over to Tiffany to continue.
Okay, so the next section, and a few of them, it's more about a personal growth. So learning something new. I've seen a lot of things they are saying, like learn a new language, take some things that might take a lot more time, but there are other options of things that you can do that you can do in a short amount of time each day to learn something new, but also it's something that's realistic and that's something not too overwhelming to take on. So a lot of people have been looking at cooking and baking. If you're someone who is working and out, and you're now working in the home, you could use your commute time to try out some more complicated dinner recipes and add some new recipes to your lineup every week, or try some more complicated baking recipes on the weekends. Again, I mentioned gardening and staying active, but if that's something that you haven't done before, there are a lot of websites about how to learn how to do that. If you're looking to do a vegetable garden, flowers, anything like that. And I thought it was really interesting that there are a lot of blogs about how to garden with what you have. So there's ways to garden on your countertop, on your balcony, any space that you have, how to use that if that's something that you're interested in. I know for myself personally, reading books, I had a whole bookshelf that I had just kind of been ignoring. I went through it, I cleaned it, got rid of books that I have and didn't really want, and made a list of the books that I've had for years sitting on there that I haven't been able to read, and put those aside for my weekend. So that's something you could definitely do. And also art classes. Again, if there is a local studio that offers these, they might be offering virtual classes, but YouTube has some free tutorials. You can find them pretty much anywhere and learn a lot of different techniques. If you have, you want to have those, like the supplies available. So maybe pottery might not be ideal, but you can learn how to paint or draw or do something that you've always wanted to do but never had the time to do. So another thing for personal growth is kind of preparing for the future, or setting yourself up for it to be in a better situation when we get out of this. So if you have your email and you know that it's just been piling up with all of those emails that you just don't read, you could go through your email, clean out some of those, and unsubscribe from the accounts that no longer are relevant to you, or that you've noticed you don't open any of those emails. You could just clean those out. You could organize your paperwork if you don't have it. If you just kind of have that box full of papers, put it into a filing cabinet, an accordion folder, or even you could go paperless. For myself, I use the Dropbox app, and you can scan paper right from your phone, and then I just transfer it onto my tablet afterwards from that app, and then just get rid of the paper, and it just makes for having a nice, like a cleaner environment to keep everything organized. And then also, you could go through your phone and learn about the apps and features that are on your phone. I know there are apps on my phone that I've never touched, and I'm sure there's a reason it's on there and it's useful, and that's something that could use my time better to figure out, what I actually use on my phone and get rid of some of the apps that I don't. So another thing for planning for the future, with everything that's been going on, there's been just a lot of changes in your daily life. And I think it's been helpful. I know it's helpful for me, but I think it could be helpful for you as well, to just look at what do you like in your life right now? Do you like having that extra time? Have you enjoyed making yourself dinner? Some of the changes that you have made. And then what are some of the things that you don't like? And how can you use that information to structure your weeks in the future? Say, for example, you liked having breakfast at home instead of going out and running and grabbing that. How can you meal prep, make it the night before, or plan out your week so that you can continue to do that? Just a little change like that you could incorporate into your life when we go back to whatever normal is going to look like. And then another idea is vision boards. That's a way for you to make a collage or just, put quotes that inspire you to get you thinking about the future and what do you want, what are your goals for when all of this is over. Again, like say, you're looking for a new job or volunteer opportunity. Once this is over, you can start planning. What is that goal and how are you going to reach it and what do you want, your life to look like? And of course, so we are the PAVE program. Our focus is employment, education, and volunteer. So it would be, it wouldn't make sense if I didn't talk a little bit about professional development and growth. So one thing is LinkedIn. You could always work on revamping your profile. If you have an account already, have you touched it in a long time? Is it up to date? Does it have your current jobs and education on there? If you don't have an account yet, you can go ahead and start creating that. We actually have some courses on how to get started with that. You could, learn how to get that started. But again, if you already have an account, they also have courses available that you could look into and take some of their LinkedIn courses. And a new feature they have are assessments to prove your skill level. So if you have on your account that you're good at PowerPoint or Excel or some kind of, I know they have a lot of computer certifications on there, you can take an assessment that proves that you actually are skilled in that, and it shows up on your profile. Another thing you could do, again, similar to the LinkedIn account, have you looked at your resume lately? Is it actually up to date? Does it have your most current jobs, volunteer positions? Does it have your current education? Even just if it is all up to date, it doesn't hurt to just take a look at it and see, how you could rework it. Are there any skills that you seem to see that are missing that you might need for a job in the future, and how you can kind of work to make that, what you need it to be. Again, volunteer opportunities. It looks like a lot of you were interested in that. You could start looking for opportunities in person if you feel healthy enough to go out right now. I'm sure there are needs in food banks and different shelters and things like that. But if you're not feeling comfortable doing that, you can look ahead to how to do that when things are a little safer to be out there, or you can volunteer virtually. I'm sure there are a lot of tutoring sites that could use some assistance, especially with everyone having to teach their kids at home right now. I'm sure there's a big need for that right now. And like I mentioned, we have PAVE Connect sessions. And I mentioned that when I said about starting a LinkedIn account. We have a variety of different topics that we talk about that cover volunteer, education, and employment. And a lot of them are, how to get started with your resume, how to get started with LinkedIn. But we also have, now that you have a LinkedIn, how can you make yourself stand out? We have a bunch of different courses, so I just have that right there, the link for you to use to find some of what we have to offer. Okay, and then again, the library, I love the library. Again, people think it's just renting out books, but they also have some classes. I've included here a screenshot from actually the Philadelphia Library. They have classes on Microsoft Office, how to do your taxes. They have some career resources. I know they had some here about starting your own business. They have so many courses. It depends, again, on your library, but I think that's something you could check out, and you could take some of those courses to improve some of your skills. Again, they have meetups. They have book clubs and knitting clubs and a chess group that you can access to learn a new skill. There you have access to newspapers that you can usually get for free instead of having to, pay for it and get an account and everything. You can get that through your virtual library. And libraries are continuing to have books that you can get on a Kindle, or you can, just do a lot of different things. They have a virtual collection. So if you have your library membership, that's something you should look into. And then, of course, there are other courses outside of the library. There are some free tech courses, and I include some of the websites that are hosting some of those courses. You can also take college courses from home, so I included a website where that's available. I believe you can audit the class, or you can pay a smaller price and get actual college credits from home. You can learn how to use some video communication platforms. So even though right now, I think that's a popular thing, everyone's using Zoom and Duo, Skype and FaceTime, but I think we're going to see that we're going to be using that a lot more in the future. because it's working for people. So it wouldn't hurt to learn to use that now while you're home and have the time, so that if you down the line you have to do an interview or something using one of these platforms, you already know how to use it, and it's going to make you look good in that interview. Another thing is, if you say you have a job that requires a certain level of like a typing speed or accuracy, there are a lot of websites that you can test your typing skills, and then they have actual practicing like games to improve that speed and that accuracy, so that you can get that better and have the number that you need on your resume. And then lastly, you can determine what skills are necessary for your field and make a plan to gain that skill or certification so that you stand out as an applicant. So if there's anything, like I mentioned with your resume, if you see there's something that's missing, or you know that in this field, if you have this certain certification, it's going to make you stand out, that's something you could start working towards. Or even if you're not sure, just start looking, what's going to make me stand out in whatever field it is that you work in. And then this is just the list of resources. I just included PVA Sports, the website to get the virtual trips, college courses from home, the balcony garden guide that I thought was interesting, also mason jar, like just different ways that you can garden, and of course PAVE Connect if you're interested in taking one of our virtual sessions.
All right, and before we start with the Q&A, I will launch our last poll question. The question is, did you know that PAVE supports PVA members and other veterans, their family members, and their caregivers? All right, give everyone just another couple seconds. Okay. That's great. Most of you said yes, that you did know that. A few of you said no, so that's great that you learned something new, and that PAVE does support family members and caregivers in addition to veterans. So now we will open it up to questions. So you can either use the Q&A box still, or you can raise your hand, use the raise your hand feature, and we will unmute you so that you can ask your question out loud. Okay, does anybody have any questions? All right. I'll give everyone a minute to gather your questions. I'll also talk about that we've got more webinars coming up in the future. Our next webinar, we have PVA leadership on that will answer your questions. Whatever issues or questions that you want answered, this is your chance. We'll have an open Zoom meeting so that everybody can participate. So we have a question from Tammy. All right, Tammy, go ahead.
Yes, thanks, Tiffany, for the information. And there were some really good ideas for us, you know, checking out the apps on our phones, and I like the organization aspect. That could be a great benefit in my office right now. So I would just like to say thank you very much for the information, and look forward to more. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tammy. Does anybody else have any questions? See in the chat. I'm good. Okay, so If nobody has any other questions, thank you, Tiffany, so much for a very informative session. We will be sending out the slides to this session so that you can get Tiffany's resources and check those out a little bit further on your own as well. And we will be sending a recording of this webinar out. With that, I hope everybody has a good day, and thank you so much.